Oh, I have to turn it on here. Let's see. My channel. Oh, I'm not hooked up on that one. Okay.
There's a huge rainbow going straight up into the air. A huge
Oh
one.
my God, I see it. Wow.
Mom, there's two of them.
Take a picture, baby, so I could see it later. Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm live right now, it says. Let's see. See right here? And I was just making that face. I was just going like that. So let's see. Quantum energy shift live stream, maybe. It says live stream. I should be able to edit off the beginning of these when I, you know, I tried to use their editor. It was a little, little
it's
difficult, but
editor. Yeah.
yeah, see, it doesn't come up when you type that in,
Yeah.
which is lame because people should be able to go on there. I'm live right now, it says. It's working. Let's see. It's a little window, right here? Though. And I was just making that face. I was just going like that. So let's see. Quantum energy shift live stream, maybe. It says live stream. How do I make it bigger? I want to make it, because look, it's just a little thing. I mean, I'm glad it's working, but I would like to have it be like full screen. I should be able to edit off the beginning of these when I, you know, I tried to use... I can't hear it at the same time. It's too much. Let's see. Settings. Oh, 640 by 40. So maybe I should try... Should I try that?
Yeah. I just try them. See how they...
Let's see.
Let's get
Oh!
It, yeah.
It made it a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So
and then you got the 1280. And you got 1280.
If it will take it for me, because there we go. I'm a dork. Oh, see, now it's stuck on stupid. Oh my God, I have 4 minutes.
You got 4 minutes. Yeah. Better get focused on what you...
I mean, I'm glad it's working, but I would like to have it be like full screen. I should be able to edit off the beginning of these when I, you know. It's buffering. I can't hear it at the time. It's too much. Let's see. Settings. Oh, 640 by 40. So maybe I should try... Should I try that?
Yeah, I just try them. See how they...
Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
It made it a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So
and then you got the 1280. And you got 1280.
If it will take it for me, because there we go. It works, Alan. I'm a dork. Oh, see, now it's stuck on stupid.
Oh, Mom, these are chewables. It says chewable right here.
Okay. All right. I'll try them in a minute.
There. Chewable.
Nice. If you go onto my Facebook page, then you can find the link to the you could just click on the link to the to it.
Okay. Phase.
Go down. Listen to the sea roll in. Yeah. Oh, YouTube picks up the music if it's on the monitor, and then it tells me you are doing a copyright infringement. So I have to trim the beginning.
Yeah. So
it's because because they play these songs.
Right.
Yeah. Alan, can you shut that door?
Yes.
Thanks. Help you understand. Back to the island. Oh. These airborns are sour. We play. Understand. Go back to the island. What mic are you on? 3? Yeah. It's the sun go down. Listen to the sea roll in. Yes, and I'll be thinking of you. Might have been. So I still can't get the caller's audio.
Yeah, it would have to be heard in this room, which...
Did we ask Andy if we could plug it into the board?
You don't have any way to plug it in. You don't have any way to plug the audio into the camera.
I don't?
No, there's...
Oh, into the camera?
Yeah,
I'm thinking for the live stream.
For the live stream,
To the sea roll.
To see if you could do that. Afterwards, you'd have to do, if you could plug a mic in that, and you can choose, if it allows you to choose the input for the audio, then you should be able to do it.
This is us. Aloha, beautiful people. I'm Laureen Lee, and I'll be with you for the next hour answering your health and energy questions and taking your comments and talking to you about all things holistic health and energy. And I have my good friend Alan in the studio with me today, and we are playing around with our Quantum Energy Shift YouTube channel, doing the live stream. So if you can get on the internet, you can be here in the studio with us kind of virtually. If you're online, you can watch us live here today, and that should be some fun. If you have my Facebook page, there's a link right at the top. I made a post earlier today about how you can link over to the Quantum Energy Shift channel on YouTube, and it's called Quantum Energy Shift Live Stream, and it's a new program that YouTube has where you can do live streaming straight from YouTube. And so we tried it last week, and it seemed like it wasn't working, and later on we found out that it was at least recording, and so it looks like it's live right now. Hopefully you can go in and check that out. There's a chat area next to the video where you can ask questions, and let's see how that's working. Yeah, so we're just kind of playing with that now, and hopefully you can get in there and check it out. And alternatively, you know, you can always send me an email. If you don't want to call in to the radio show, you can send an email to quantumenergyshift@yahoo.com and ask your questions. I can answer them live on the air, or I can just email you back, and that's a public service that I do to help out in the community, help you get your health questions answered from a natural, alternative, and holistic perspective. And as most of you know, I am a student in medical school. I have received my bachelor's degree in holistic health, so I'm a holistic health practitioner, and I've also received certification from Integrative Nutrition, which is the world's largest nutrition school, and I'm continuing on my medical education to become a doctor in natural medicine. And so I'm working on that, and that's all different kinds of fun. I have a bit of an announcement here from KPFZ concerning the Lake County Valley Fire Recovery Task Force. They're going to be holding community meetings focused on bringing residents the resources they need to recover from the Valley Fire. The Lake County Valley Fire Recovery Task Force will begin holding public meetings on Tuesday evenings at 6 p.m. at the Twin Pine Casino Event Center, which is located at 2223 Highway 29 in Middletown. Lake County Valley Fire Recovery Task Force is a partnership of local, state, federal, and tribal representatives. These agencies are working together to provide comprehensive services to aid in the recovery of Valley Fire survivors and Lake County residents. So Tuesdays at 6 p.m. you can go check that out. And right now, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about your good health and energy, of course. And I have been on an appreciation rampage lately. If you follow my personal Facebook page, you probably already know a little bit about that. But in appreciation for everyone and everything, I would like to read you my appreciation script that I wrote out, that I just love to share with everyone, and that I love to remind myself of as often as possible. Today, I command my thoughts. I know from experience that I create this life from my ideas, energy, visions, vibrations, intentions, ponderings, and notions. I understand that negativity provokes negative consequences, and when I think positive, I inspire positive circumstances. So today I'm impeccable with my word. I'm honest, genuine, thoughtful, respectful, considerate, and harmless in my intent and speech as I communicate with others. Today I give thanks as I realize that life is full of tribulation, adversity, and challenges, and the best way to succeed is to accept these challenges of life and persevere, strengthening and refining myself. Now today I abandon negative thinking, self-doubt, self-sabotage, fear of success or failure, self-criticism, people-pleasing, and procrastination. Alternatively, I expect miracles. For everything is possible. I am unlimited. I bite off more than I can chew, and then I chew it. Therefore, today I will not fritter away the hours with frivolity, glamour, shallowness, or frustration, wariness, indecision, and trifling foolishness. Instead, I delight in this day as I appreciate and give thanks for this auspicious occasion to emphasize my gratitude for the opportunity to expand my being. Today I choose health and well-being. I breathe deep. I select whole, organic, and nourishing foods, herbs and superfoods, and fresh living water. I meditate wholeheartedly. I love unconditionally. I enjoy enthusiastic exercise to keep me thriving, for this body is my vehicle upon this earth within which my soul travels toward my ultimate purpose in this precious lifetime. So this very day I forgive myself and every single soul for each imaginable and unimaginable transgression, misconduct, crime, dishonesty, immortality, abuse, offense, atrocity, and wrongdoing. For I am not this body. I'm free. I'm but a mirror, a magnet, a stabilizer and equalizer, a fraction of the entirety, a bit of essence, a mere wisp of the immensity of all that is. Today I manage my emotions, thankful for the opportunity to practice my patience and positivity even in the face of trying times. I don't make assumptions or take things personally, trusting that I am enough. I am okay. All is well. And today I'm open-minded, positive, and non-judgmental. I offer my inspiration, support, and encouragement to those around me and to all who reach out. I'm grateful for my awareness that the universe is abundant, flowing, and giving. Therefore, I am in competition with no one. I have no delusions of being better than anyone. I'm equal to my neighbor, my son, and my friend. I'm neither above or beneath another soul. I simply aspire to be a better person than I was yesterday. Today I meet difficulties, trials, and challenges with dignity and grace as I improve myself with courage, self-respect, and self-discipline, for these are the building blocks of character and constitute a solid foundation for success. Today I treasure the importance of knowledge and wisdom and the value of mentors and teachers and guides as I develop discernment, humility, appreciation, proficiency, and awareness. Today I demonstrate my uniqueness, my ingenuity and inspiration, as I'm here in earnest to be of service to the world with respect to the highest positive result. So today I do my best, remembering the importance of enthusiasm, initiative, planning, determination, perseverance, cooperation, honesty, patience, creativeness, anticipation, trust and faith in myself as I consistently expect that something delightful is about to happen. Today I dismiss from my life expressions of impossibility, hopelessness, failure, indecision, inadequacy, chaos, disaster, disappointment, and defeat, for these are the utterances of losers and fools. Now today I'm thankful for the opportunity to serve my brothers and sisters honestly, honorably, ethically, and humbly with compassion and generosity, for this is my calling, to share my love, my expertise, my kindness and blessing from the universe. Finally, each day I diligently embrace these intentions with dedication, sincerity, appreciation and love, bravery, fortitude and integrity, for I command my destiny and I create myself anew each day. So I like to add a little something to that when I share that with people, because, you know, we can do our best every day and we're not perfect all the time. And so we can have these intentions, and at the same time we can realize that this is something to work towards. And I invite you all and encourage you to write your own list of intentions and your own aspirations in a positive way to help you work toward that your best self, and to be gentle with yourself, because you can progress a little bit every day, and we're always a work in progress, and we're not perfect right out the gate, even if we have perfect intentions. And so please do that, and if you would like a little bit of help with that, I'm always here at your service, and you can write to me at quantumenergyshift at yahoo.com if you want some help with that, or if you have questions. I'd like to also invite you to go ahead and give us a call here in the studio if you have questions about your health and energy. Our number here is 707-263-3435, and I'll be taking your calls right up until 6 o'clock when till the end of the show here. And don't be shy, just go ahead and call in, because if you wait till the end, it gets kind of crowded, and the phones get backed up, and people aren't getting through. It seems like we never have enough time to speak to everyone who wants to get their questions answered or make a comment. So on Saturday, on Halloween that just went by, KPFZ had a fundraiser Halloween party that was a lot of fun, and I got to meet a lot of the other programmers, and it's just such a beautiful group of people. I really enjoyed that and felt really blessed to be a part of what was going on there. So that was really great, really good stuff. And so today, in the meantime, while we're keeping the lines open for people to call in with their questions and comments, I have a little bit of information that I would like to share with you. Some really good stuff about your health and energy. One of the things that I wanted to share with you has to do with fasting. And so a lot of people think that fasting means starving yourself and not being able to eat for days or weeks at a time. And, there's a different kind of fasting that you can do, which is intermittent fasting, and you can go just a half a day without eating food. So if you really think about like the way it was before modern society, when we were out being hunters and gatherers and stuff like that, we didn't eat all day every day. We didn't have 3 giant meals a day. And while that really works for some people, because everybody's different, what works for you may not work for me or your neighbor. But if you're interested in maybe losing weight or clearing toxins out of your body or things like that, you can do what's called intermittent fasting in the meantime while you maybe prepare yourself for like a longer fast or a cleanse or something like that. There's an article, I can read you some of the article, I might not get all the way into it, but it's from Mercola.com, which, as a lot of you probably know, is one of my favorite websites to reference. Dr. Mercola's been around since I was doing the Wilder Network, which is the World International Lyme Disease Emergency Rescue Network, which I used to be president of many years ago. And pretty much since the beginning of the internet, Mercola's been out there being an advocate for your good health, and I just really appreciate what he's doing and like to support his efforts in any way that I can. So there was an article that came out in the middle of October this year, so just a couple weeks ago, and the title is "Most Americans Eat Too Frequently to Achieve Weight Loss." While there are many potential factors contributing to unsuccessful weight loss, if you're struggling with excess weight, then when you eat may be just as important as what you eat. In over 30 years of clinical practice, intermittent fasting is one of the most effective ways to shed excess weight I've ever seen. This is for 2 reasons. It helps you improve your insulin and leptin sensitivity, and it resets your body to more effectively burn fat for fuel. Eating too close to bedtime is another meal timing factor that can have serious health consequences. There's compelling evidence showing that when you supply fuel to your mitochondria at a time when they don't need it, they leak a large number of electrons that liberate reactive oxygen species as free radicals. These free radicals damage your mitochondrial and eventually nuclear DNA. There's also evidence indicating that cancer cells uniformly have damaged mitochondria, so the last thing you want to do is eat right before bedtime. But I personally strive for 6 hours of fasting before bedtime, but at a bare minimum, avoid eating at least 3 hours before going to bed. If you have serious adrenal challenges, then you'd likely need to resolve them before implementing intermittent fasting. Also, if your goal is to have large muscles, intermittent fasting would likely not be your best strategy. But personally, I believe that working to eliminate your risk of cancer for the goal of living much longer is a far better choice for most of us. Research shows most Americans eat 4 to 15 times a day. Research reveals that a vast majority of Americans eat all day long. Most also consume a majority of their calories late in the evening, and this type of eating pattern is a recipe for weight gain and metabolic dysfunction. As reported by LA Times, Americans' 24/7 culture of work, entertainment, and digital connectivity now also extends to our dietary consumption patterns. Americans' erratic, round-the-clock eating patterns, suggests the new study, have probably contributed to an epidemic of obesity and type 2 diabetes. But they can be changed, and the restoration of a longer nighttime fast shows promise as a means to lower weight and better health. The study revealed that most participants spread their eating and drinking over the course of 15 hours each day. About 25% of their daily calories were consumed before noon and more than 35% after 6 p.m. Other trends revealed by carefully tracking the timing and content of the people's food and beverage intake for 3 weeks included the following. The 10% of participants who ate and drank the fewest number of times each day still averaged 4.2 consumption events per day. The 10% who ate most frequently averaged 15.5 consumption events daily. Less than 10% of participants went without food for 12 hours or longer. The majority fasted less than 9 hours a day. And an average of 12% of the total calories participants ate each day were consumed after 9 p.m. Fasting 12 hours a day or more may be key for successful weight loss. Previous research has demonstrated that when mice are allowed to eat whenever they want, they tend to get obese, whereas animals whose food availability is restricted to 8 or 9 hours a day stay leaner, even though the overall calorie consumption is the same between the two groups. The mice that fast for 15 to 16 hours a day also had lower levels of inflammation, less fatty liver disease, and healthier cholesterol and metabolic markers compared to the non-fasting mice. As noted in the featured article, pointing to such research, the Salk researchers have suggested that a nightly fast of 10 to 12 hours might do much more than just limit the consumption of excess calories. Even without changing daily calorie intake, a lengthy nighttime fast appears to reset your clock, disturbed by 24/7 feeding, and drive up the body's ability to burn off extra calories. And while humans cannot have their chow taken away for half the day, the authors wrote, their erratic daily rhythm of eating fasting can be manipulated to obtain desirable health benefits. To evaluate the validity of their claim, the researchers recruited 8 of the original study participants for a small pilot study in which the only dietary change made was restricting their eating to a 10 to 12-hour window each day. For the remaining 12 to 14 hours, they fasted. After 4 months, the participants had lost an average of more than 7 pounds, and while not specifically instructed to cut calories, they ended up reducing their daily calories by an average of 20% anyway. Along with weight loss, the participants also reported improved sleep and increased energy levels. Temporary fasting mimics long-term calorie restriction. Calorie restriction has been one of the very few interventions that has been consistently shown to promote longevity, but living life on the brink of starvation is just too tough for most people. But as recently demonstrated in a study, temporary starving yourself every now and then effectively mimics continuous calorie restrictive diets and provides many of the same health benefits. The researchers tested a fasting schedule on yeast, mice, and humans to evaluate the effects. 38 healthy individuals between the age of 18 and 70 were enrolled in the human portion of the study, and half of them ate normally throughout the 3-month-long trial. The other half fasted for 5 days each month. During the 5 fasting days, their diet was all plant-based, low in carbohydrates and protein, and high in healthy fat. On the first day, they ate about 1,090 calories, and then only 725 calories on the 4 remaining days. It says the test subjects who ate the special diet experienced drops in their fasting blood glucose levels and in factors associated with cancer and cardiovascular risk. In mice, the researchers saw increased numbers of stem cells, suggesting that starvation-like conditions killed off old, weaker cells and allowed younger, refreshed cells to emerge. Everything is getting a little younger, and it goes back to working much better, they said. Evidence-based health benefits of intermittent fasting. While weight loss may be one of the most noticeable effects of intermittent fasting, it's certainly not the only one. Other health benefits associated with intermittent fasting include improved cellular repair and waste removal process, reduced cancer risk, hormonal adjustments that help release stored body fat, such as reduced insulin levels and increased human growth hormone release, improvements in risk factors for heart disease, such as blood pressure, cholesterol levels, triglycerides, and inflammatory markers, beneficial genetic and molecular changes associated with longevity and disease prevention, improved brain health and risk for neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's, courtesy of reductions in inflammation, oxidative stress, reduced blood sugar levels, and improved insulin sensitivity, reduced oxidative stress and inflammation, and extended lifespan. So intermittent fasting covers an array of different fasting schedules. As a general rule, however, intermittent fasting involves cutting calories in whole or in part, either a couple days a week, every other day, or even daily. As in the case of scheduled eating regimen I use myself, the best one for you is the one you will actually adhere to. And here's a quick summary of several different eating schedules. You can restrict daily eating to a 6 to 8 hour window. The key here is to eat breakfast or dinner, but not both. So you can have breakfast and lunch, or have breakfast and an early dinner, or have lunch and an early dinner. And that's one way you can do it. You can do the 5-2 fast, and on the 5-2 plan, you cut your food down to 1/4 of your normal daily calories on fasting days. So about 600 calories for men, about 500 for women, along with plenty of water and tea. And on the other 5 days of the week, you eat normally. You can do alternative day fasting, which is exactly as it sounds, 1 day on, 1 day off. And when you include sleeping time, the fast can end up being as long as 32 to 36 hours. The Diet Warrior is a protocol designed to improve your fitness by exercising in a fasted state, and you just want to make sure that you're, relatively healthy, and that you check with your doctor to make sure, that how you choose to do this, if you decide to take this on, is healthy and good for you, because, as I always say, everyone's different. What works for you or me may not work for someone else, and so you definitely want to make sure that what you're doing is healthy for you. And this, you do have a lot of choices here. So, and then there's the Eat, Stop, Eat protocol, where you fast for a full 24 hours once or twice a week, and your fast should be broken with a regular size meal, so you don't gorge yourself when you come off your fast. You kind of ease back into eating again, and that pretty much goes for any kind of fasting. In nutrition school, one of the things that we learned, and that I think is really important, is that, and it's very helpful with your energy, with your health, and also if you're working on weight loss, is to stop eating when you're 70 or 80% full, because we're going to be okay. We're, unlike in the early days of humanity, we almost always know where our next meal is going to come from. So it's not like we have to make ourselves 100 or more % full on each meal. So those are some great things that you can do for your health. Avoid late night eating, and do these. You can alternate. You can do the daily fasting, where you eat during the day and you take 12 or 14 hours off a night. You can do a couple days a week. You can do 1 day a week. You can do a 5-day fast every month or every season. So there's lots of different ways you can do this. And I do invite you to just write to me if you want some assistance or some pointers. You can write to me at quantumenergyshift@yahoo.com, and I'll definitely help you out with that. So that was a lot of information. Let's go ahead and take our caller and see what's on your mind. Aloha, you're on with Laureen. Are you still there? That was a little bit of a hold, so why don't you go ahead and call back if you like, and if I cleared the line too soon, just call back.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you want to say something, Alan? Go ahead.
I just brought to mind the song by Wayne Newton. Just call me, all you do, call me.
Yeah, right. And go ahead and give us a call, because we are here for another 30 plus minutes, 34 minutes maybe, and let us know what's on your mind. And as always, we're here to help. So go ahead and give us a call back if that was you that I kind of lost you there, or just call in if you're interested or you have questions. So there is a chat on the Quantum Energy Shift YouTube live stream where you can type in questions. However, we're still kind of working with this technology and learning how to do it. So if you come in and you try to use the chat, or if you see that the video is streaming or not streaming or anything, let us know. You can always send an email and give us your feedback on that, and join in and watch us there, because we're really trying to make this happen. Because how cool is that if you can come on to the internet and be sitting here live in the studio with us, and kind of see what's going on. There's a meeting here starting in a couple minutes for programmers and directors and and that kind of thing. And so that's actually happening. So there's a lot of people in the studio today, which is pretty cool. Get to see everybody and see what's going on. So, there was something else that I really wanted to talk to you all about today. And I know we've talked about this a little bit before, but I want to bring it up again and share this article with you. It's about Lyme disease, and I would like to add just tick-borne diseases in general. Also insect-borne diseases. So when I was directing the Wilder Network, which is an insect-borne disease nonprofit, which is no longer, functioning, that went down when we lost our vice president many years ago. But in any case, I like to keep people aware of what the reality is of insect-borne diseases, tick-borne diseases. We do have a lot of ticks in this county, and they hide in the brush especially. And they go in a 2-year cycle. The ticks I'm talking about now go in a 2-year cycle where when the acorns fall from the trees, which they do every other year, it brings a lot of rodents in, and the ticks kind of go on the same schedule as the dropping of the seeds and the acorns from the trees. And so this year was a big year for ticks, and every year they become more and more prevalent. So I just really want you to be aware of Lyme disease and insect-borne diseases. These you can have symptoms that your immune system can keep, keep in control. But if you have some kind of a big stressor in life or another illness or something like that, then the symptoms can all of a sudden become worse. And what's happening is in our body, if you look at your live blood under dark field microscope, you can see these little specks in between your blood cells and in between your macrophages, the white blood cells that are the ones that are part of your immune system that go in and fight stuff. So you have these little specks in between your blood, and they are they're like the beginning, like the seed of germs that can cause illness. And so what happens is they have different stages, and in the first few stages they're not pathogenic, they're not making you sick. But what happens is as soon as you have a huge stress in life, or some other exposed to some illness, and especially emotional trauma or stress, then they grow into their more virulent stages that can begin to cause disease symptoms. But the truth is that those seeds of the germs are actually living in our blood all the time. And so what you can do is to keep your energy level balanced by definitely by meditation, visualization, intention. These are all things that are going to help you keep your energy level and the environment inside your body in a state of balance, so that you can so that these beginnings of illness aren't able to develop into more virulent stages. So that's all very, very interesting stuff. This is really awesome because it kind of makes sense if you think about it, that you have the potential to become sick. We all do. But how we conduct our lives and how much our energy is in balance and how much positive type of energy we have is really, really important. So we can eat the right foods and we can take the right supplements and do these kind of things. But a huge part of the puzzle that isn't maybe very popular nowadays with modern medicine is your energy level and keeping your energy balanced so that the environment inside of your body isn't going to be a place where these germs and diseases and illnesses can develop. So I really just want to say that before I read you a little bit about Lyme disease. Another Mercola article from the middle of July, and Lyme disease on the rise as tick epidemic spreads across the U.S. So according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, an estimated 300,000 Americans are diagnosed with Lyme disease each year, and the prevalence is rising. Since national surveillance began in 1982, the number of annual Lyme disease cases reported has increased nearly 25-fold. The disease is also spreading out geographically. So I just want to interject something here, which is when they began reporting or taking reports for Lyme disease infection, it has increased over time, but then awareness has also increased over time. And then also, if you've been exposed to tick bites and insect bites that carry disease in the past, and maybe you haven't, maybe you didn't get sick right away, maybe your immune system kicked in, or maybe you had a mild illness, and you didn't associate it with exposure to one of the germs that the insects can carry. So maybe it took a while for the symptoms to show up, and so as that develops, then reporting would develop more. So the article continues, between 1993 and 1997, 43 counties across the U.S. had a high incidence of Lyme disease, and by 2012, the number of hotspots had skyrocketed to 182. As reported by Time magazine, Lyme disease is not only becoming more rampant, in its normal hotspot of the Northeast U.S., it's spreading across the country. Over time, the number of counties identified as having high incidence of Lyme disease in the northeastern states increased to more than 320%. They also note that the disease is appearing in states where it's never been recorded before. One big reason why Lyme disease is spiking, according to the CDC report, is climate change. Eliminating predators have allowed Lyme disease to spread and become more prevalent. While deer usually gets the blame for spreading tick-borne disease, rodents are actually the primary threat. So ticks are not born with the Lyme spirochetes. It picks up the bacteria when feeding on an infected host. So there's indication based on research that the white-footed mice infect 75 to 95% of the larval ticks that feed on them, while deer only infect about 1%. Urban sprawl and hunting has eliminated many of the mice's natural predators, allowing populations to grow, and with them comes infected ticks. This year, ticks are epidemic in certain areas of the U.S., including Illinois. The CDC has identified high-risk counties in 17 states. So what is Lyme disease? Lyme disease refers to illnesses transferred by biting or blood-sucking insects. The bacterium responsible for Lyme infection is Borrelia burgdorferi, a cousin to the spirochete bacterium that causes syphilis. Many still attribute transmission of Lyme disease exclusively to ticks, especially the black-legged tick. But according to Dr. Klingart, one of the leading authorities on Lyme disease, the bacteria can also be spread by other biting or blood-sucking insects, including mosquitoes, spiders, fleas, and mites. Common side effects of tick bites include an itchy bullseye rash, which isn't always itchy, by the way, pain, fever, and inflammation. There's also, joint inflammation is very popular with these infections. So especially of the big joints in your body, like your knees, your neck, your hips, and things like that. So the article goes on to say, you don't have to get the hallmark bullseye, as this rash occurs only in about half of the people infected, and some of the people don't even see that rash. So absence of a rash does not exclude the possibility of a tick bite. However, if you do have that bullseye rash, that is a 100% indication that you have been exposed to the Lyme bacteria. Symptoms of Lyme disease typically start out with unrelenting fatigue, recurring fever, headaches, migraines, achy muscles or joints. If left untreated, the disease may progress to muscle spasms, loss of motor coordination, and even intermittent paralysis, meningitis, or heart problems. For a more complete list of symptoms, you can check out the Tick-Borne Disease Alliance at LymeDisease.org. Also has created a printable symptom checklist, and you can find these things on the internet, and also just by a simple search you can research a little bit more about the symptoms. The Borrelia burgdorferi spirochetes are shaped like a corkscrew, which allows it to burrow into and hide in a variety of your body's tissues. It can also live intracellularly, which means inside your cells, which allows it to evade antibiotics. For this reason, some doctors recommend giving antibiotics along with Plaquenil in order to change the intracellular pH. The organisms can also take up residence in biofilms or in an encoded cyst form. So another interjection here is one thing that you want to be aware of is if the Lyme can hide from the antibiotics, then you know, a lot of times the standard protocol for treating Lyme disease is 10 days with an antibiotic like doxycycline, and some people are taking the 10 days treatment, and it's supposed to completely eradicate the bacterium from your body, and that isn't necessarily true. And this is a different way of looking at Lyme disease, which isn't the mainstream way. Mainstream says you take 10 days of antibiotics and boom, you're good. And having dealt with, for many years and run the Lyme disease nonprofit, I can definitely say from experience of witnessing many people who, probably got exposed to the germs that cause Lyme disease and the other tick-borne diseases and didn't catch it right away, and maybe when it was realized that they had this infection, they got the 10 days standard treatment and didn't get well, and so then maybe they're diagnosed with fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue syndrome or something like that. So you need to understand that these germs can hide inside your cells, and so maybe those 10 days of antibiotics might not clear it up right away, and you just really want to be aware of that and work with a doctor who understands the way that the germ, the life cycle of the germ is, and the different things that it can do. So of all these different morphologies and clever evasion capabilities, they explain why the Lyme infection can cause such wide-ranging multi-symptom involvement and why treatment can be difficult. It also explains why recurrence of symptoms can still occur after the standard antibiotic protocols. Complicating matters further, ticks can also infect you with a number of other disease-causing organisms such as Bartonella, Rickettsia, Ehrlichia, and Babesia, and some others. These organisms can travel with the Borrelia burgdorferi, and each organism causes a different set of symptoms. So according to Dr. Klingart, many Lyme patients have one or more of these co-infections which may or may not respond to any given treatment. The Lyme bacterium has yet another stealthy survival mechanism. While most bacteria need iron to survive, the Lyme bacterium has adapted to survive without iron, using manganese instead. This allows it to evade your body's natural immune system defenses that destroy pathogens by cutting off their iron supply. If you're looking for a film about Lyme disease, I recommend Under Our Skin. The film has changed the landscape of the Lyme epidemic, bringing unprecedented awareness in an engaging and accessible way. So you can look that up on the internet and check that out. The simplest presentation of Lyme disease is the orthopedic forms, which typically affect the larger joints. When the microbes and the associated immune reactions are situated in the connective tissue, the infection presents as a vague, dispersed pain, which oftentimes ends up being not misdiagnosed as fibromyalgia by conventional doctors. In fact, Lyme disease is notoriously difficult to diagnose, and doctors often get it wrong. Lyme is known as the great imitator, as it can mimic many other disorders, including MS, arthritis, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's disease, ADHD, and Alzheimer's disease. So, when nothing unusual shows up on blood tests, some patients are even told their problems are all in their head and they may be referred to a psychologist. One of the reasons the blood tests are so unreliable as indicators of Lyme infection is that the spirochete is capable of infecting your white blood cells. Lab tests rely on the normal function of these cells to produce antibodies they measure. And so if your white cells are infected, they will not respond to an infection appropriately. Interestingly, the worse your Borrelia infection is, the less likely it'll show up on a blood test. So in order for a Lyme test to be useful, you actually have to be treated first. And once your immune system begins to respond normally, only then will the antibodies show up on a test. This is called the Lyme paradox. You have to be treated before a proper diagnosis can be made. Dr. Mercola recommends the specialized lab called IGeneX because they test for more outer surface proteins and more bands and can often detect Lyme while standard blood tests cannot. IGeneX also tests for a few strains of co-infections such as Babesia and Ehrlichia. That said, a negative on the IGeneX test for these co-infections does not necessarily mean that you're not infected, as there are many more strains than tests can currently detect. And so I happen to know the directors at IGeneX just from having worked in the Lyme disease nonprofit community for so many years. This was many years ago. There's also Bowen Lab in Florida, which does a live blood, well, it's not really live blood cell analysis, but they do a dark field analysis of your blood, and they can see different stages of different tick-borne diseases right in your blood, and so that's another one to check out. The controversy over treatment for chronic Lyme. While most doctors now acknowledge that Lyme disease is real, controversy still remains over whether or not Lyme can persist or become chronic, and if so, whether extended long-term treatment with antibiotics is effective. Doctors who belong to the IDSA, which is the Infectious Diseases Society of America, do not believe in chronic Lyme and typically will not treat a Lyme patient beyond 4 weeks. Doctors belonging to ILADS, the International Lyme and Associated Diseases Society, on the other hand, do believe Lyme can persist and are willing to treat you beyond the 4-week period. Insurance companies typically will not pay for extended use of antibiotics, though, because they follow the guidelines of the IDSA, which is the Infectious Diseases Society of America. Personally, says Dr. Mercola, I find it baffling that physicians would deny the possibility of ongoing infections when these organisms are known to operate by stealth and are capable of evading detection and most standard treatment protocols. I can tell you firsthand from my experience that that chronic Lyme does exist. The good news is that no matter how long you've had it, there's hope for a full recovery. I do have a couple callers waiting on the side here, but I would really like to say something about the long-term treatment of Lyme disease and long-term treatment of chronic Lyme disease, because I have personally experienced it myself, and I had a lot of damage to my organs, my liver, kidneys, and my digestive system from long-term antibiotic treatment and also the other medications that treat symptoms. And so I would really recommend or suggest that you work with someone who does work with holistic health as well as using standard medical treatment, because there's so much that you need to get in balance, and you need to be constantly detoxing the toxins out of your body from these medicines, from these standard medicines that are going on, especially if you're going to be doing long-term pharmaceutical medicines. So that's about it in a nutshell. And let's see if we